Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Critics Corner. My name is JP, and here with me today is.
Matt, how's it going, guys?
Yep. So today, me and Matt are going to review both Quiet Place movies, parts one and two, and here are our thoughts about it. So, Matt, do you want to give us a summary of the first one?
Sure. So basically, The Quiet Place, directed by John Krasinski, is mainly focusing on a family, the Abbott family, who has to live in this, I guess you could say, post-apocalyptic world filled with these creatures that hunt by sound. So any slightest noise that they make could cause something catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to sum up this movie, and yeah, it's so I I have to get this out of the way. I didn't know Michael Bay actually produced this movie. I kid you not. If you look at the credits, Michael Bay produced this movie, and in my mind I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in major disbelief. And since this is directed by John Krasinski, who is known for like The Office, I was expecting that she would get like the Jenna Fisher from The Office to portray as his wife, but he had to get his actual wife, which is Emily Blunt. Which I'm not complaining, but hey, anything to give a spin off to The Office, am I right? So yeah, so the first time I've heard about this movie, I remember watching the trailers, and I didn't watch it in theaters because I didn't watch horror movies that much in theaters, and so I bought this. So I borrowed it on my local library. I rented it on DVD. I popped it in, and I honestly really loved it. So what you think, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite horror movies that I've seen. But yeah, the story was great. The writing was great. The acting was great, especially from the two child actors, the main child actors in this movie. Especially Millicent Simmons, considering she is deaf and her character is also deaf. So the fact that they used sign language to communicate, I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good thing you brought up sign language because this movie it surprisingly has little dialogue. I'm talking about maybe a few, maybe one scene, maybe two scenes that have like a bit of dialogue, but mostly it's communicated with sign language, and honestly, it feels very good because in horror movies it's all about sounds. It's all about lots and lots of sounds. And the sounds in this movie are just from the aliens and basically the surroundings. And I gotta tell you, it's great because it's all about the visual presentation, visual storytelling. You could see the fear from the family as they try to survive through the circumstances that's going on in this small ghost town, And honestly, the opening scene, oh my gosh, it's like one of the scariest I've ever seen.
I
And
agree. I had chills when I first saw
yeah,
that.
honestly, it's like traumatizing. But like, and the only thing like I would say that might throw me off, that might be a bit of a criticism for me is that the jump scares. You know me, but well, some of you may not know this, but I'm not a huge fan of jump scares.
Neither am
And
I.
honestly, I would say that there's like a few going on, and honestly, I would brush that off because that's a minor nitpick. Because overall, the entire experience of the movie is just filled with tension, suspenseful, and thrills, and that's what gives it the experience that it gave the audience. And honestly, I appreciate it. I love it. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
I agree with you completely. And I gotta say, I think my favorite scene out of the first movie is probably the scene where Emily Blunt's character is in labor and no one's home in the house except her.
Oh
and the
yes,
creatures are in the house with her. That scene had me on the edge of my seat for the entire scene. That entire
exactly.
10 minutes, I was on the
Yeah.
edge of my seat the whole time.
Well, like basically, this was all building up. I mean, if you've seen like the mother had to endure basically getting her feet injured in the stairs and
That too,
having to
yeah, she
deal with,
stepped on the nail.
yeah, and then also trying to like just quiet her baby down, and then basically giving birth. It's like everything is on her shoulders, and like, man, the weight is just like, and she's just willing to let out this one scream, and it was all due to the great editing, no, the great directing from John Krasinski.
Who also stars in this movie, for those of you that have not seen it.
Oh yes, John Krasinski also appears in this movie, and honestly, he also gives the best perform. He also gives an amazing performance. In fact, everyone gave the best performance in this one, including There's this girl in this movie, Millicent Simmons,
Yep.
who's actually deaf in real life, and you know what? I'm gonna get more into her character later in the sequel, but let's just say she's becoming an inspiration to her community, and she's becoming a great role model and a great actress as well. And honestly, she has my respect for that.
I agree with you completely, JP. That was great.